My father used to joke that when Hilly was first born and no one was watching, he would run up and pinch her really hard in the crib and see if he could make her cry. My grandparents were confused. What had happened? But would calm her down and move on. In my father's case, it was mission accomplished. So you can see from very early on, Hilly had to learn to be a strong and resilient woman. Hilly's accomplishments are numerous and impressive, including being crowned Miss Rheingold as a young woman, her work at the Harvard Mahoney Neuroscience Center, her documentary and well-received book, Journey Interrupted, and of course her wonderful children and grandchildren. But for anyone who knows my aunt, it's all about who she is as a woman. She is strong, fearless, determined, and most of all, loyal. For anyone who has ever worked with Hilly on a project, she is more precise than a neurosurgeon, but with a sense of humor rivaling most comedians and laughter that is contagious. It is clear she applied these very skills here at the Boys Club when she was one of the 6 founding women's board members and 2nd president, as Richie just mentioned. I reached out to a few women who have worked with her on the women's board, and this is what they had to say. Jamie Gregory says, Hilly has always been my hero, my role model. When I joined the Boys Club in the 80s, she was tops and still is today, always calm, cool, and collected. And Catherine says, she is one of the most fun people I have ever known. We bow to her picture every time Arthur and I are in PJ Clark's. She reminds me of how the Women's Board of the Boys Club of New York is a very sacred bond. So Viktor Frankl once said, the meaning of life is to give life meaning, and you have done just that. Hilly, look around at what you have helped start and all that you have accomplished. Thank you. You are an inspiration to all of us on the Women's Board, and we hope to continue to lead fearlessly like you always do and still do today. And with that, I'd like to welcome to the stage Kitty Northrup Friedman, Ned Northrup's daughter, to present the Northrup Award to Hilly. And now, our 2016 Northrup Award recipient, Hilly Mahoney.
Thank you, Kitty. It is a great honor to be receiving your dad's award tonight. He was everything that Richie said he was, and then some. I admired him so much, so that this means a great deal to me. Thank you, Stephanie, for your lovely introduction. I didn't know some of it. For being a co-chair with Chase this evening, and for your dedication to the Boys Club of New York. I know that your mother, Mai Harrison, and I, would agree with me when I say how proud we are of you for carrying on the family tradition of working with the underserved boys of our city. And thank you, Richie, for your thoughtful introduction and your very able leadership as president of the Women's Board. You exemplify the kind of leadership we envisioned when Dixie Carhart, Pat DeBarry, Jackie Ireland, Pat Stevenson, Timmy Turnbull, and I founded the Women's Board almost 50 years ago. Last, but by no means least, a great big thank you to Susan Bender, Courtney Ford, and Haley Meyer for the superb job they did working on this dinner. In fact, a great big thank you to everyone at the Boys Club of New York who had a hand in this evening. Starting with the forward-thinking Stephen Tosh. I feel privileged to have been able to serve a wonderful organization like the Boys Club for over 60 years. 60 years that have many happy memories of creative teamwork with a wonderful group of like-minded women, all dedicated to the Boys Club of New York. One of my fondest memories was selling ads in a program journal which I had started after we lost $35,000 sponsorship by Cody of our fall dance. That is what it cost to run the dance in those days. In order to make up for that loss, we needed at least 35 separate $1,000 ads, or fractions thereof. Someone had a station wagon and had offered to drive 3 committee members up Madison Avenue, block by block, to find the ad buyers. 3 of us would go into the various stores on each block and persuade the storekeeper that buying an ad in our journal would give them 3 exposures to a group, 3 exposures to a group of young and not so young affluent shoppers who would be happy to shop at their establishment. The journals would then be printed by a contributor and distributed at the spring dance, the fall dance, and the All Sports Hall of Fame dinner, which some of you might even remember, which, by the way, was an extremely popular evening. We had no problem selling tables of 10 because each buyer was promised a famous, beloved athlete while celebrating the Hall of Famers from football, baseball, basketball, hockey, tennis, and golf. My late husband, David, was asked to be chairman, and he in turn asked his good friend, Frank Gifford, to be the MC. Then, during dinner, Frank would introduce the athletes from each table, and the crowd would go wild. It was quite a scene. On another note, David and I arranged for the funding of a fitness center because we knew the importance of exercise for the boys. Every time I would pay a visit there, it was gratifying to see so many boys working out. Another fond memory I have is at the spring and fall dances. It was very special to see the boys from the club choir dressed in their white boys club t-shirts and black trousers come into the ballroom after dinner and sing a few songs, showing us how the Boys Club of New York was also encouraging their interest in music. What was also very special was the camaraderie among our group of women, and it seems that the generations that have followed are working together in the same harmonious spirit. Finally, it is such a pleasure to see firsthand, I'm very emotional, the tremendous accomplishments of one of the boys we at the Boys Club were able to help early on. My fellow awardee tonight, Valentino Carlotti. Where are you? Congratulations, Val. And finally, a special thank you to my son Bob for providing his talents at cocktails, and to so many of my family members who joined in this evening. And of course, to my wonderful fellow board members, and to all of you for coming out tonight. Thank you.